The Fermi paradox, named after physicist Enrico Fermi, is the apparent contradiction between the lack of evidence and high probability estimates for the existence of extraterrestrial civilizations. It sure seems unlikely that a highly intelligent life form would initiate contact with us Earthlings, as it would mean in the quasi-infinite stretching universe they'd have to be near enough our tiny area and, coincidentally, exist within the same relatively brief time period. If we think about it, fear of an alien invasion really is just fear of another culture taking over our own. Another human culture, that is. The story of mankind is one of conquering one group's power struggle against others. And the very setup we're in currently, full-scaled globalization, is originally due to colonialism. An inevitable planetary colonialism that would have occurred in one form or another, as it is ingrained in our genes, in our violent, greedy nature as human beings. Not every person wills to dominate, but domination and submission of others through warfare has indeed written the pages of history with perfect consistency. As science personality Neil deGrasse Tyson said, all this fear-mongering of aliens in movies, this is not from any actual knowledge of aliens, it's from actual knowledge of humans. There have been countless movies depicting such alien invasions: Mars Attacks, Independence Day, War of the Worlds, Men in Black, Arrival, Pacific Rim, and many, many more. And it's no wonder they've been popular and enjoyed consistent worldwide success. Their theme taps into a real fear within all human societies. A rational fear from past experience and a deep-rooted knowledge of power. The bearers of power have seldom helped those weaker around them, to put it lightly. Many renowned scientists, such as theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking, claim that if intelligent alien life exists, it too is predatory by nature. All life forms on our own planet, including ourselves, are just struggling to stay alive and need to ensure survival in hostile environments. Feeding and finding a mate for procreation don't come easy, and at the price of sacrifice. And although we live in organized society, the ground rules of existence in this world do not fundamentally change. It's the free market, so to speak, unrestricted competition. Get it, or someone else will. It's difficult to imagine that rule is merely one that applies to Earth's creatures, from simple organisms to complex sentient cultural beings, and somehow isn't a universal maxim. This may very well be an Earth-centric view of the universe, but until proven otherwise, we can't really begin to realistically fathom an alternative. Either way, contact with another high-caliber intellect culture would arguably turn into a disaster eventually. Indeed, one could very well imagine the scenario where, if aliens came with somehow benevolent intentions, perhaps fleeing existential threats to all life, something along the lines of resources or perhaps something deeper, and came looking for other intelligent life to work with together against that common struggle, as humans we would probably use their superior technology against each other, and ultimately against them. It's what's happened here in our own history. Whenever a stronger military and technology came to colonize a country, that country would eventually use those bigger weapons to wage even bigger wars. It's what happens with the native Indians in the Middle East or in Africa. Some would say, however, that worldwide, as of late, there seems to be a growing care for the environment. Things like food resources, renewable energy, pollution control, but that's only out of coercion for our mutual survival. We don't have a choice anymore, and wars haven't disappeared, they've just only taken different forms. Now, if they've got the technology to come to Earth, the intellectual and technological abilities to develop far-reaching machines and find us, and have gone through all the trouble, they surely want something in return. It may not be that they directly waged war against mankind, but they wouldn't necessarily have interests to fulfill. Our resources, oxygen, the planet itself and the room available, our minds? Regardless, it would mean the enslavement of all humanity, in essence a sort of permanent doom. The end. Hawking said, "If aliens come to visit us, the outcome would be much as when Columbus landed in America, which didn't turn out very well for the Native Americans. We only have to look at ourselves to see how intelligent life might develop into something we wouldn't want to meet."